It's Jeff Summers with Watch You Know, and guess what? Filming outside. Such a beautiful day out here. And what also is beautiful is this Seiko SPB143. And we're gonna find out all about this watch. I have it set on this Strap X Pro SPX1C. And if you like the video, go ahead, as I always ask, and subscribe to the channel. Let's not waste any more time and get right into it. So this SPB143 is a modern reinterpretation of the original 62 MAS, which was developed in 1965. And historically is very important because the 62 MAS is a watch that actually helped shape the very definition of what a modern dive watch should be. It had an immense influence on the upcoming production of the modern Prospex dive watches. Not all of them, but many of them. And there still are some key elements that you can see from the 62 MAS, especially with this watch, which has the same proportions and similar-esque design. Seiko dubs it a modern reinterpretation. The SPB143 is made of 316L stainless steel, and the case and bracelet feature a mix of brushed and polished finishes, which are accentuated by the DiaShield super hard coating. And this coating gives a bit of extra gloss to the look and helps to resist against fine scratches from daily use. The diameter is 40 millimeters, which I feel is the sweet spot. At least for me it is. The thickness is 13.2 millimeters, which for some reviewers thought it to be quite thick, but I don't really feel that way at all. It fits under the cuff easily, and it can be a bit top heavy for some people, but I don't really feel that that has ever been an issue for me. The lug to lug is 47.6 millimeters, which I find quite perfect. If anything, it fits smaller than most 40 millimeter watches because of its lug to lug. It fits, to me, more like a 38 millimeter. The sapphire crystal has a slight dome shape and comes with a anti-reflective coating. Never once have I been concerned about glare from the SPB143. And by the way, the AR coating is on the inside of the crystal, so no worries about it coming off over time. And the crystal sits atop the bezel, giving it a boxed look. The LumiBrite is good and lasts for a rather long time. I have experienced watches that were much less expensive than this, like the Addies Dive H8, that has better lume, but by no means is the lume substandard. Seiko is known for great lume. However, this Seiko is not the strongest lume I've seen on a Seiko. The hands markers and pip are lumed, and there's no lume on the bezel other than the pip. The lug width is 20 millimeters, and there's something to be said about a 2-to-1 ratio, 40 millimeter case with the 20 millimeter lug design. It's just visually satisfying. 200 meters of water resistance makes it a true dive watch. Just be careful of that unguarded crown if you are diving and exploring underwater. Speaking of the crown, it's a screw down crown, but it's unsigned. It screws and unscrews quite easily, but it's a little odd that it's not signed because many watches that are far less expensive do have signed crowns. It doesn't bother me too much, but it might bother you. It is a screw case back which has the Seiko Tsunami logo engraved into the stainless steel. I absolutely love this Tsunami logo. It's one of my favorite logos. The Tsunami logo is present on all Seiko watches with an ISO rating of 200 meters or more. For those of you that don't know, that means the watch is subjected to 25% more depth pressure than the rated depth. For example, this 200 meter rated watch has to perform normally without condensation after exposure to 250 meters. The Prospex SPB143 has a unidirectional 120 click rotating bezel. The bezel insert is hardened steel. It's robust and I find it very attractive. What is not attractive is the mushy bezel action. It's quite easy to move by accident, not something you'd really want to happen underwater when air supply can mean life or death. I've looked down many times to find that the bezel has actually unintentionally moved on me, and that's a bit of a letdown for a watch that's $1,200. With the bracelet that you get on this 143, it's pretty heavy. So the watch set on the bracelet is 180 grams. It has a nice design, the bracelet I'm speaking of, and comes with several ways to adjust, including a diver's extension. However, the end links do not fit the case at all. They don't match the shape of the lugs. Many have complained about give and play with the end links that can create a visually irritating gap. There are also male end links, which detracts from the rest of the watch and how great it looks and fits. And I think the solution to this is the Strap X Pro Tropic Strap SPX1C. You can check out my review of this strap, what you're seeing on the watch today. Obviously, this isn't the bracelet. The SPX1C solves all the problems with the bracelet. It's lighter, it's attractive, it's water resistant, made with the highest quality materials, and wears very comfortably, and is a much more true and accurate modern reiteration of the 62 MAS, because that used the Tropic strap, which the SPX1C is a modern reinterpretation of the Tropic strap. So does it sound like I like this strap? Hell yeah. So if you're interested in this, check out the code below and you get a little bit of a discount. One more thing too about the Strap X Pro on this SPB143 is that it shaves nearly 80 grams of weight compared to if you wear the Seiko bracelet. This truly makes wearing the watch a much more comfortable experience. Now, the movement that powers the SPX SPB143 is the Seiko 6R35. It has a terrific 70-hour power reserve. Unfortunately, the movement beats at 21,600 beats per hour.
Oh no.
There aren't many Seiko movements that have a high beat rate that have just the date as a complication. I only know of one, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm talking about movements that aren't like a spring drive movement that is used on the Grand Seiko. But yeah, there's the 8L35, but the movement alone costs $2,000. So it would be great for Seiko to make a 28,800 beat per hour movement available for some of their middle tier watches like the Prospex. How accurate is the 6R35? Seiko says it's likely to lose 15 seconds or gain 25 seconds per day. This one here is getting about plus 6 seconds a day, which is quite better than what Seiko claims. The 6R35 remains one of Seiko's top workhorse movements, finding its way into mid-level Seikos such as the Presage and of course the Prospex line. So here's my opinion. These are the things I truly dislike or like, and there's one thing that I really dislike, and it's just one, and that is the bezel action. It's just weird to me. And again, you have to have it in your hands and move it to understand. I don't like the fact that you can knock it out of place quite easily compared to many other bezels that I've had experience with, even other Seikos. Being that said, there's so much I like about this watch. First of all, its attention to detail. The finishing of the hands is amazing. Half of the hand is polished and the other half is brushed. This creates an amazing effect. Also, the highly polished hour markers are downright stunning and they reflect light magnificently. The chamfered edges on the case give some spice to what would otherwise be a bit of a bland case, I feel. The polished chamfers also mean that the brushed sides of the case reduce the visual thickness of the watch. Another thing I like is the drilled lugs because it makes strap changes super easy. It seems to look good with so many different options, including this Strap X Pro. The flat bezel against the dome sapphire is a great look, and I really love that. The recessed pip is one of the best I've seen. And of course, when talking about attention to detail, the second hand with the loomed rectangle at the end is just perfect for this timepiece. Several reviewers have stated that this watch is too expensive. You know, there's a lot of options in this price range, and this watch does have its shortcomings, but I feel with the price tag of $1,200, it surely is one of the more interesting timepieces of its kind. I find it to be better than a lot of the Swiss competition in this price range. When it comes down to it, everything is just a personal choice. So should you buy it? Of course, that's up to you, but if you want a great looking watch with a modern take on a historic design, a solid movement, and just simply a watch that is better than the specs may read, then this is a fabulous choice. Sure, the bezel may be a bit mushy, but overall, I'd have to say it's a good bang for the buck watch. Hey, congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. That's awesome. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel. Trying to reach 4,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. And yes, you could help me do that. So hopefully you learned something about this great watch. And if you're thinking about buying it, maybe you were swayed one way or the other. So I wish you a great evening, a great night, great morning, whatever time it is, and I'll see you in that next watch review. Bye.